Ella was a very brilliant girl, the best in her class. She learned faster than her peers, solved mathematics problems with ease, and always got most of the questions right. She loved studying and had the grades to show for it. Everyone was proud of her: parents, her teachers, and herself. Indeed, Ella was very proud of herself. Ella really liked her classmates, but as much as she liked them, she couldn't help but sometimes think they were a bit slow. She would look around in surprise whenever the teacher asked a question, one she thought was simple and straightforward. And yet, nobody could answer except her, of course. She would frown and shake her head whenever the teacher had to repeat a math formula multiple times, yet some of her classmates still didn't get it. These moments gradually began to irritate her. Bunch of ignorant, unintelligent kids, she would think to herself. To her, they just didn't measure up. With exams fast approaching, Ella buried her nose in books. She wasn't a playful girl to begin with, and now, with exams looming, she played even less. Acing her exams was her top priority, as always. Her classmates, on the other hand, decided to organize group study sessions for anyone interested. They would gather to read together during free periods, and more than half the class joined in. But Ella, along with a few other students, decided that studying on their own was better. One day, during a group study, the kids came across a tough question. They tried solving it multiple times, but it was futile. After struggling for a while, they decided to ask Ella for help. They spotted her reading in a corner and pleaded with her to come over. Ella didn't turn them down when they called. In fact, she felt proud and was glad to help. She closed her book and walked over to them. Taking the pen, she was ready to solve the problem, but stopped in her tracks when she saw the question. In an instant, all her smugness and smiles disappeared, replaced by a wave of anger and irritation. Could she have expected more from them? Why would they interrupt her reading for something so easy? But even as she thought this, she suppressed her anger, shook her head, and began solving the problem, explaining as she did. After finishing, she asked if they understood, but instead of a positive response, they all chorused, "No." Ella's patience snapped. Her irritation, mixed with anger, burst forth. She flung the pen away and shouted, "Why are you all so dumb? This is just simple arithmetic. What exactly do you know if you can't solve this?" She stormed off, losing interest in her own studies while her classmates stared after, shocked that she could say such hurtful words. "Dumb kids," she muttered as she walked farther away, still unable to comprehend what they found difficult about that simple question. The next day, Ella noticed something different. Classmates, who usually greeted her with smiles, seemed distant. They whispered among themselves and avoided her gaze. She tried to brush it off, but a small part of her felt uneasy. During recess, Ella overheard a conversation between two of her classmates. "I can't believe she called us dumb," one said, her voice trembling. "I thought she was our friend." Ella's heart sank. She hadn't realized how deeply her words had hurt them. She had been so caught up in her own frustration that she hadn't considered their feeling. Later that day, as Ella sat alone in the classroom, the teacher, Mrs. Thompson, approached her. "Ella," she began gently, "I've noticed that you've been a bit distant from your classmates lately. Is everything all right?" Ella hesitated, then blurted out, "They just don't get it, Mrs. Thompson. They struggle with things that seem so easy to me. It's frustrating." Mrs. Thompson nodded thoughtfully. "I understand that it can be frustrating when others don't grasp things as quickly as you do. But Ella, being smart isn't just about knowing the answers. It's also about understanding others and helping them learn." Ella looked down at her hands, feeling a pang of guilt. "I didn't mean to hurt them," she whispered. "I know you didn't," Mrs. Thompson said kindly. "But sometimes, without realizing it, we can say things that hurt others. What's important is recognizing that and making amends." That evening, as Ella reflected on Mrs. Thompson's words, she realized how wrong she had been. Her classmates weren't dumb. They just needed a little more help, and she had been too focused on her own abilities to see that. The next day, Ella approached the group of students who had asked for her help. She took a deep breath and said, "I'm sorry for what I said yesterday. It was wrong of me to call you dumb. I know I can learn from you too, and I'd like to help if you'll let me." The students exchanged glances, and after a moment, one of them smiled and said, "It's okay, Ella. We'd love your help." From that day on, Ella became an active participant in the group study sessions. She found joy in helping her classmates understand difficult concepts, and in turn, they helped her see things from different perspectives. Ella's relationships with her classmates grew stronger, and she learned that intelligence wasn't just about being the best, it was about lifting others up too. In the end, class aced their exams together, and Ella felt a deep sense of pride, not just in herself, but in all of them. They had grown together, and Ella realized that her classmates weren't just students, they were friends, and each of them brought something special to the table. And so, Ella and her classmates ended the school year not just as a class, but as a team, united in their shared success. True brilliance comes not only from knowledge, but from empathy, patience, and the willingness to help others grow.
A's got the answer, she's quick and she's bright. In every single lesson she's always right. But when it comes to feelings, there's something she's missed. She forgot the warmth in every friend's twist. Oh, it's not just what you know, it's the heart that helps you grow. You can be the smartest one, but kindness shines brighter than the sun. Understanding it's the key to make us who we're meant to be. Her classmates felt lonely, lost in her glare, but Ella was certain she was being fair. So one day she saw through a different light. Understanding others is a whole new sight. Oh, it's not just what you know, it's the heart that helps you grow. You can be the smartest one, but kindness shines brighter than the sun. Understanding is the key to make us who we're meant to be. Felt lonely, lost in her glare, but Ella was certain she was being fair. So one day she saw through a different light. Understanding others is a whole new sight. Oh, it's not just what you know, it's the heart that helps you grow. You can be the smartest one, but kindness shines brighter than the sun. Understanding is the key to make us who we're meant to be. So now she listens with a caring ear, learns their story, sheds a tear. Intelligence is great, but she's learned it's true. It's the heart that makes the brightest view. Oh, it's not just what you know, it's the heart that helps you grow. You can be the smartest one, but kindness shines brighter than the sun. Understanding is the key to make us who we're meant to be. Ella found the balance, smart and kind, a better world she left behind. Ella found the balance, smart and kind, a better world she left behind.